live.
Hi, I'm ERIC SHAW QUINN, and this is the Dinner Party Show. This is the actual dining room where we do the show, and this is Brett Churnin, who is essential to our doing the show, and who is being challenged right now by the Department of Immigration Services and the United States government about his right to be here. And so we wanted to get a little bit of a sense from Brett of what that whole experience has been like. Brett, what's the most frustrating part of this whole ongoing, I don't know, argument that you're having with the INS?
I think the most frustrating part is the fact that there's no recourse. Somebody in an office in Nebraska makes a decision based on some paperwork that he's seen.
Has he ever met you or talked to you?
There's no way of talking to these people.
You can't call him on the phone?
You can't call. There's no interview. There's just they make a decision. Sometimes they allow you to appeal if there's new evidence. But if it's just an opinion, which it is, I mean, basically, denial is based on his opinion. You can't. There's nowhere to go. There's no recourse, and that's the most frustrating thing.
So, what were you trying to accomplish? It's like a 7-year process that you've been participating in, right?
It is.
And this has entirely been this is nothing illegal about. This is what legal immigration in this country is like. You were legally pursuing what?
It's a long process, basically because there's a long line for quota visas to become green cards.
So only a certain number of people every year. So you had to get in line.
That's right.
You did that.
We did that
very patiently.
Green card was approved several years ago, and then you're basically in a line waiting for it to become your date to become current, so you can actually receive your green card.
Right.
And when it was ready to become a green card, and they call it adjustment of status when they actually give you the green card, they found an error in the original paperwork which was filed by the attorney. In fact, there was 3 different bits of paper that were the same checkbox was marked incorrectly, and they denied it. So
And let's be clear, this wasn't like some big issue. This was, have you filled out this paperwork before, was basically what they asked the question. And you had, but then you hadn't really filed it because you didn't think you needed it.
It was to do with a previous application. When we originally came here back in 2002, I came on a different type of visa. Came with a UK company, transferred there to the US, and that was withdrawn after a couple of years.
So you didn't file it, and so
it was filed.
They said
it was filed, but didn't
you
complete.
hadn't filed before, and you had kind of filed before, but you really hadn't because you hadn't.
It had been withdrawn.
So this is the terrible, egregious thing that they left out. They filed the paperwork, but then they didn't complete the process. But they checked that they hadn't filed the paperwork.
It was the same attorney, but they forgot to mention the fact that they'd filed.
So it wasn't like he forgot to mention that. Oh, I was convicted of being a bank robber or something. Yeah. It was that you had not. There was about.
It was a previous
form.
Application.
It was about form.
Yes.
So it was a total paperwork error about paperwork.
Yeah.
But okay. So anyway.
Yes.
So they found this error, and then what happened?
And then they immediately denied it and sent a denial notice through. This was after having waited several years, I think 6 or 7 years, for it to come to the front of the queue. 6 months before it was ready to be issued, they said, "Okay, we found this mistake, so it's denied." So the attorney immediately filed an appeal saying that it was they put a subpoena. An affidavit together saying that it was their error. It was a clerical error, purely a clerical error. Sorry, here it is. It's here's a retraction.
Right, and meanwhile, all through all of this, Brett has a work sponsor. Brett has been a regular tax-paying citizen. He's a homeowner. He's a regular resident here, a part of this community, and as you know, an essential part of the Dinner Party Show and a lot of other businesses.
Yeah, that's right. So. We've tried to do everything right the whole way through and try to get everything, all the paperwork done.
So then enter me. In an effort to help, I got in touch with our Senator Feinstein. Not really Senator Feinstein, but Senator Feinstein's office. And they were lovely. And they were enormously helpful. And the people that we dealt with were wonderful. And we began the process with the support of the senator's office. They advised us to fill out affidavits and to do our part, which we did. We got everything ready, and then the INS said...
Well, what happened was we got basically, I got letters from 30 people that I work for, and different client companies, such as yourself,
Right.
who wrote very nice letters saying, I'm an essential part of the business, and it's very important for me to be here, and I'm a good person.
And a stand-up guy, and regular,
so we
legal.
put that together along, and with Senator Feinstein's office also put a note on the case to say that they had interest in the case, and that and then
we very much appreciate it.
Right, and then 3 months later, they determined that they denied it again, based on the fact that a few other facts which they brought up, such as the fact that I've been spending a lot of time here, way before.
This is my
years
favorite
ago.
part. What is it that they thought you were guilty of?
They thought I was guilty of immigrant intent while here on a non-immigrant visa.
Which means he was guilty of thinking about immigrating before he got here. Like, does that sound like a crime to you? It doesn't really sound all that like big of an offense to me.
He decided that while I was here on a non-immigrant visa, that I was intending to stay here because I bought a property here, because I'm spending a lot of time here.
How else would anybody wind up here except that they plan to get here? It's like, oh, where are we? I guess we'll just continue living here.
You're not allowed to do it, apparently.
I mean, we'd have to send the Pilgrims and the Mayflower home on that particular score.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Daniel Chen, who works in Senator Feinstein's office, heard this from the INS, and he decided that...
He called. Yeah, I'm sorry. He called. He called me. He took over, and he, because up to that point I've been dealing with somebody that worked.
We'd never met this guy. Never heard of him. Just suddenly inserted himself into the process.
And he wanted to know why I hadn't told him this information before. Obviously, I didn't know it. I didn't think it was an issue.
So we didn't think thinking was a problem.
And he said that because that the UCIS, which is the immigration department, had found this out, they're never wrong, and so it's they obviously determined it correctly.
Clearly, the immigration department doesn't make any mistakes. That's why we have this giant national issue about immigration reform, because they've done a flawless job so far.
And that they were unable to help any further because they.
So as a result, the withdrawal of the senator's support actually made matters worse, and the senator still doesn't know anything about it, and we don't know who the hell Daniel Chen is. So we're actually asking that you get involved to help out Brett and the Dinner Party Show. We would also really like the assist, because Brett is an essential part of how we got to be on the air. And just ask Senator Feinstein to ask Daniel Chen to mind his own business and to reassert her support. If she can do anything more than that, we'll certainly appreciate it. I know Brett certainly will, and we certainly will here, but we basically are just trying to get Daniel Chen, whoever the hell that might be, out of the process and get Brett settled down. I can't imagine, like, you've been living with this sort of Damocles. Any day now, somebody could call you and say,
"Well, I could receive a notice of a notice to quit the country at any time, which I haven't received yet. But it's a matter of time, I would guess."
And there's been a lot of other personal impact. Your partner had the same issue and had to return for his mother's death or his mother's illness.
His mother had terminal cancer, and he had to leave.
And he can't come back.
It was the same situation. The same boxes that were marked on his paperwork were marked on mine, so it was exactly the same scenario. He couldn't fight it anymore because he had to leave the country, so obviously he couldn't fight it, and once he left, they wouldn't let him come back even to visit.
And so you can't go to visit him.
I can't leave here, he can't come here, so for the last 2 years we've been apart.
So he hasn't seen his partner for this whole time. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Chen. That's a huge help. Very humanistic of you.
So, I'm just looking for some help to be able to get, to be able to discuss it with the department so that we can at least get to somebody sensible that is able to help and look at it, because any person that looks at it, looks at the situation will be able to see that it was an error. There was nothing.
Obviously, it's an error, and everybody who stepped forward has stepped forward on your behalf because you're a stand-up, regular member of the community. And I just think it's if you have any doubt about immigration needing to be reformed, these are the human consequences of a perfectly decent man trying to pursue legal immigration in this country. In fact, it's just a green card. You're not even actually asking for anything more than that. And this is how much 7 years this has taken, and now any minute he can be thrown out of the country because he might have thought about immigrating here before I don't know, before you got here or before you
Yes,
actually arrived? Or?
Before the application was made in 2006.
That's how big a mess this is. Anyway, you can help out by just simply writing or emailing Senator Feinstein and asking her to throw her support back by Brett's efforts to work here as a legal citizen, and then we'll start on trying to get Roger back over. At least you'll be able to go home and visit him.
Exactly,
right?
yes. Yeah, that's
so
the key right now.
You're the key. We're counting on you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help, and thanks, Brett. Thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thanks very much.
And thanks for getting the dinner party show on the air. We really appreciate that. I hope you guys do too.